Morgan Freeman. Have you ever wondered why some movies fade away after a few months, while others seem to grow stronger with every passing year? What's even more surprising is that one of the most beloved films ever made was actually considered a disappointment when it first hit theaters. Hardly anyone rushed to see it. Critics appreciated it, but audiences stayed away. And yet, decades later, it's still regarded as one of the greatest movies ever created. At the center of that story were two remarkable actors. One brought calm wisdom and quiet strength to every scene. The other carried the emotional weight of hope, resilience, and determination. Together, they created a friendship so believable that millions of people felt like they knew them personally. But what most fans don't realize is that for one of those actors, the role wasn't just another job. It was the reward for a lifetime of patience. Morgan Freeman. Long before becoming one of the most recognizable voices in the world, Morgan Freeman was just a young boy growing up in Mississippi. At 9 years old, he stepped onto a small school stage and experienced something that would change his life forever. It wasn't fame, it wasn't money, it wasn't even applause. It was the feeling of being truly seen. For the first time, people were paying attention to what he could do. That simple moment sparked a dream that would follow him for decades. But dreams don't always come with shortcuts. In fact, Morgan's journey would become one of the longest and most challenging success stories in Hollywood history. After serving in the Air Force, he moved west hoping to become an actor. Like countless dreamers before him, he arrived with ambition and determination. What he found instead were closed doors. Audition after audition led nowhere. Sometimes he was rejected directly. Other times nobody bothered to call back. Days turned into months. Months turned into years. To survive, he took whatever work he could find. He drove taxis. He worked odd jobs. He performed anywhere someone would give him a chance. While many people would have given up, Morgan kept moving forward. Now imagine spending 20 years chasing a dream while watching others succeed around you. Most people would quit. He didn't. When he finally landed a regular role on a children's educational television show, many assumed he had made it. The truth was very different. While children loved watching him, the entertainment industry still didn't see him as a serious actor. He was already 40 years old. Think about that. Many actors are considered veterans by 40. Morgan Freeman was still waiting for his breakthrough. Yet he continued showing up, continued learning, continued improving, and perhaps most importantly, continued believing. Years later, that persistence finally began paying off. Film roles started arriving. Critics noticed his talent. Award nominations followed. But even then, success came slowly. Every time people thought his big moment had arrived, it seemed to slip away again. He earned praise. He earned respect. He earned nominations. But the biggest prizes always seemed to go to someone else. Most people would have become bitter. Morgan Freeman became patient. He understood something many never learn. Life doesn't always operate on your timetable. Sometimes your moment arrives exactly when you're ready for it. And for him, that moment came in the form of a script. The instant he began reading it, he knew it was special. Page after page, the story pulled him deeper. The characters felt real. The dialogue felt authentic. The emotions felt powerful. By the time he reached the end, he wanted to be part of it, no matter what role was available. Then he discovered which character they wanted him to play. Red. Red wasn't just another supporting character. He was the soul of the story. The narrator. The observer. The man whose voice would guide audiences through years of heartbreak, friendship, and hope. For an actor who had spent decades waiting to be trusted with something meaningful, it was the opportunity of a lifetime. What's fascinating is that the original character description looked nothing like Morgan Freeman. In the source material, Red was described very differently. But the filmmakers recognized something important. The character wasn't about appearance. It was about presence. And Morgan Freeman had that in abundance. The moment he appeared on screen, people listened. The moment he spoke, people believed him. That rare quality couldn't be taught. It couldn't be manufactured. It had been built through decades of life experience. Years of struggle. Years of disappointment. Years of perseverance. Everything he had lived through became part of Red. And that's exactly why the role worked so perfectly. Production began inside a real prison in Ohio during the summer of 1993. The old stone walls created an atmosphere that felt authentic from the very beginning. Unlike many film sets filled with tension and ego, this one developed a different energy. People genuinely enjoyed being there. The cast respected each other. The crew believed in the project. Everyone sensed they were creating something meaningful. One of the most famous scenes in the movie involved a simple conversation between Red and Andy. Nothing exploded. Nobody chased anyone. There were no special effects. Just two men talking while a baseball moved casually between them. Simple, right? Not exactly. That scene took hour after hour to film. Take after take. Again, and again, and again. For nearly an entire day, Morgan Freeman kept throwing that baseball while delivering his lines. He never complained, never argued, never demanded special treatment. The next morning he showed up with his arm in a sling. That's professionalism. That's dedication. And it's also a perfect example of why he earned the respect of everyone around him. Tim Robbins. Across from Morgan Freeman stood another actor who instantly understood the importance of the story. Tim Robbins had the difficult task of portraying a man who refuses to surrender hope even when every reason to hope has disappeared. Their chemistry wasn't forced. It wasn't manufactured. It felt real, because both actors approached the material with honesty. Together they created one of cinema's greatest friendships. No dramatic speeches were necessary. No exaggerated emotions. Just two people gradually learning to trust each other. Audiences connected with that authenticity. Even today, people remember those quiet conversations more than action scenes from movies that cost 10 times as much. Then came the film's release. And almost nobody cared. At least initially. The movie arrived in theaters surrounded by fierce competition. Bigger films dominated headlines. Louder films attracted attention. Meanwhile, this thoughtful prison drama struggled to find an audience. Its box office numbers were disappointing. Industry experts labeled it a failure. A beautifully made failure, perhaps. But still a failure. For many movies, that would have been the end of the story. This one was different. Months later, something unexpected happened. People started discovering it at home. A friend recommended it to another friend. A family member suggested it during movie night. Someone caught it on television and told coworkers about it the next day. Slowly, word began spreading. Then faster. And faster. Before long, audiences who had ignored it in theaters were falling in love with it. Not because of advertising, not because of hype, because the story genuinely moved them. Viewers saw themselves in those characters. They understood what it felt like to be trapped. They understood disappointment. They understood regret. Most importantly, they understood hope. That's the secret at the heart of the film. Hope. Not the loud, flashy kind. The quiet kind. The kind that survives difficult years. The kind that whispers, "Keep going." For Morgan Freeman, that message felt deeply personal. After all, he had spent decades proving it was true. Every rejection he endured, every setback, every closed door, every opportunity that passed him by. He kept moving forward, just like the character he portrayed. Years later, the recognition finally arrived. Awards came, honors followed, and eventually, Morgan Freeman earned the Academy Award that had eluded him for so long. Yet when he speaks about his career, he rarely focuses on trophies. He talks about the people, the friendships, the experiences, the journey. Today, even as age has slowed him down physically, his influence remains enormous. His voice still commands attention. His performances still inspire audiences, and his story continues motivating people who feel like success is taking too long. Because if Morgan Freeman's life teaches us anything, it's this: your timeline doesn't have to match anyone else's. Some people succeed at 25, others at 40, others at 60. What matters is continuing to move forward when nobody is watching. The role that changed Morgan Freeman's life arrived after decades of preparation. Not because he got lucky, because he was ready. Every struggle had taught him something. Every disappointment had strengthened him. Every year had prepared him for the moment when opportunity finally arrived. And when it did, he delivered a performance that audiences would remember forever. Maybe that's why the film still resonates today. It's not really about prison. It's not even about escape. It's about refusing to let circumstances define your future. It's about believing there's something better waiting ahead. It's about choosing hope when giving up would be easier. And that's a lesson that never goes out of style. So the next time life feels stuck, remember this story. Remember the actor who waited decades for his defining role. Remember the film that failed before becoming legendary. And remember that some of the greatest victories take years to arrive. If you enjoyed this story, let us know in the comments. And here's a question for you. What movie, book, or life experience changed the way you see your future? Share your answer below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for more incredible stories that prove it's never too late for your greatest chapter to begin.